Okay. So there are three accounts involved: cash, tire, and excess capital. Right? So we know that the business is receiving cash and tires. So both are asset accounts. You debit them, so they increase. Capital, it's equity or liability. It increases, so it credit. And the balance is 10 lakhs credit, right? And correspondingly, 6 lakhs cash and 4 lakhs inventory. Okay. And I'm not going to bother writing the narration. You guys know what to do. Second is deposited 4 lakhs into bank account. Citibank 3 lakhs, SBI 1 lakh. Okay. So I received cash. So I'm depositing the money into bank accounts. One is Citibank account, right? The second is SBI bank account. And the third is cash account. All these three are assets, right? So we know that cash is reducing because of depositing money out of the cash. And these two accounts are assets and they increase, so I'll debit them, right? So Citibank 3 lakhs, this is 1 lakh, and this is 4 lakhs, right? The third entry is obtained a loan of rupees 5 lakh from Mr. Ram at 8% interest via check. Now, before you start this, also read the next one where we understand he deposited the check into Citibank account. So we understand that he obtained loan, but he has not deposited the check yet. So if you remember, we learned something called a check in hand account, right? So we'll be applying that here. So we receive a loan. A loan is a liability. So the guy is Mr. Ram, right? Let's call it Mr. Ram's loan or loan from Mr. Ram account. And the second is I'm receiving a check, right? So check in hand, it's an asset. So I have an asset and a liability. Asset increases, liability also increases. So 5 lakhs each. So we're done with that. The fourth entry is purchase tires worth 1.8 lakh from Mr. Ravi on credit. Okay. So here we are purchasing tires. Tires are part of our business, right? We purchase and sell tires. So when we purchase, we'll be including the purchases account. Okay. And we are purchasing it from Mr. Ravi, right? Mr. Ravi is a creditor. A creditor is a liability. And when liability increases, you credit, debit purchases. So that's 1,80,000. Okay. The fifth entry is purchase. Oh, I'm so sorry. This will be the fifth entry. The fourth entry is deposited check into Citibank account. So I know that my Citibank balance is going to increase, and I know that my check in hand account is going to decrease. Right. So that will be the same amount as above, 5 lakhs. Okay. So I've got the first five down. Any doubts as of now? Okay. I'm going forward now. Okay. Next, number six. Number six is purchase tire coating machinery on credit from Swelt Enterprises, rupees 15.75 lakhs. Okay. So I'm purchasing machinery, right? So I know that machinery is my asset. I'm going to just call it tire. What do you call it? Coating machinery, right? And I'm purchasing it from a creditor. I'm not paying him yet. So Swell Enterprises is my creditor. So my asset increases, I have to pay, so my liability increases, and the amount I'm purchasing for is 15.75 lakhs. Right? Right. 7. Just a minute. Oh, okay, no problem. If so, I'll put it this way: if you have a doubt as to with regard to a specific journal entry, if it's an isolated doubt, you can ask it now. But if you have like a lot more doubts, if it's with general, you can always call me up after the session is over and ask me the doubts then. Okay. So I'll like answer your doubts after the session is over. Don't worry about it. Okay? Awesome. Let's continue. So I think this is done. Section number 7 is purchased office furniture, 55,000 with Citibank check. Okay, so office furniture is definitely an account that's involved, right? And I'm purchasing with a check from Citibank account. Remember that when you give a check, you don't need to worry about check given or anything like that. As long as you've given the check to somebody, you're you should consider your account balance is credited in this case because you're giving a check. So Citibank balance reduces because buying something, asset value increases, right? Yeah. Right. 8 is sold 50 tires to Maruti Limited for rupees 2,500 each. So first, to figure out the value, 50 tires into 2,500, right? So I've made a sale worth 1,25,000. So I'm selling to Maruti Limited. I know that he's a debtor, so he'll be involved as an account. The second account is sales account because I'm making a sale. A sale is an income, increases credit. Maruti debtor asset increases debit. Rule goes and so does the transaction. Transaction 9. Nissan Limited paid advance of rupees 1.5 lakh in cash. So I think this is something that might be new to some of you because we've never discussed an advance before. So Nissan Limited is somebody else, right? They are paying us an advance. So typically, a customer would pay us advance because they are making a order in the future and we need to manufacture, say, or like procure items to sell to them. And because we don't have money right now to procure those items, they will give us an advance of the order. Okay. So here Disar Limited is giving us money, but they are in fact a customer, right? You should understand the business common sense and remember that while you're, like going through your transactions in the journey influence. So when they are paying us advance, the transaction clearly implies that Nissan Limited is our customer. Okay. So Nissan Limited in this case is one of the accounts involved. Don't think about whether credit or debit. As of now, I'm saying Nissan Limited is a customer. That's it. Nissan Limited, right? And then he is giving us an advance. So he is paying us an advance in cash, correct? So cash account. So I know that cash is increases, so I debit. So Nizar Limited is a customer, an asset, but here we are crediting him because as of now we have not given him, we don't made a sale to him yet. As of now, he has given us money, so we owe him something, right? If you're not going to make a sale, we owe him back the money he has paid us. Or if we have the material, we have to give him the sale. So as of now, this is an asset with a credit balance. So don't get stressed out. Let's just try to understand the idea. Nissan Limited is a customer. The customer is usually an asset, but in this case, because he is giving us money before we even make the sale, he has a credit balance. We'll understand what the implication of this is later, but don't as of now, just that's all you need to understand. Okay. So how much is he giving us? 1.5 lakhs. Right? So that's sorted. That's the 10th transaction is we are paying advance. So paid advance 1.75 lakhs to Modi Limited from Citibank. Okay. So I know that because I'm paying money, my bank balance will reduce, right? And here, Modi Limited is my vendor because I'm going to buy something from him, and because he needs money to procure whatever I am purchasing from him, I'm going to give an advance, some money for him to start procuring the item that I need from him. Okay. So here, this is Modi Limited. We know that because I'm purchasing stuff from him, he is my vendor. But here, so when I said asset here, right, I'll just give the word customer to give you a clearer vision. Okay. So in this case, Modi Limited is a liability because he's a vendor, but with a debit balance. Okay. So my balance reduces because I'm paying him in advance, and this is automatically debited. And the value is 1,75,000. Okay. Any doubts as of now? Guys, if you have a big doubt, you can actually just, like switch off your, unmute your mic and speak. Okay, just FYI. Okay, so first, Vandana, why can't it be advance account? Okay, I'll explain it this way. Let's go order by order. Okay, let us say I'm making sale to five different people. Okay, so if I'm making a sale, what is the entry? It is sales credit, customer debit, right? But if I keep, so there are five different people I'm selling to. And if the journal entry is customer account debit, sales credit, the exact words, customer account debit, sales account credit, five times, then customer account will have a balance of, say, 10, 20, 50 lakhs. But we won't know how much each customer, there are five different people who are giving us, who are, like our debtors. But if we use one common name called customer account or asset account, if we use a generic term like that, then we won't be able to identify who is the person who is owing us money. So ideally, the reason we create, say, we use the name of the vendor or the debtor is because we'll be able to identify how much exactly is the money we owe them or they owe us. So in this case, as per your question, if we name them advance account, right? I might be giving advance to 50 people or I might receive advance from 25 people. If I just use one account called advance account, the subsequent people who are paying me, I would be able to identify how much the individual person paid me. It will be much easier to maintain the balances with individual accounts. That's the idea. Okay. So that's one. So you can leave the credit side to be blank. Does it mean the same amount over to be balanced? I don't understand the question. Could you maybe unmute and ask me the question again? Maybe explain it a bit better.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
So you leave the credit side of every transaction to be blank. So
No, there is a value in each of these credit
oh,
sides,
I
right?
couldn't see that. So okay, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, sorry. Okay.
I felt same way in my every of my transaction in my Roughnode, and I was deeply shocked. Why would it be that every credit should be?
No, no, no. I'm just keeping it side by side, so it's easier for you to compare both the transaction and the journal entry. Don't worry. I'll keep it this way.
Uh,
It'll be easier. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Okay. Any other doubts, guys? Or shall I continue? Okay. Moving forward. Transaction 11. Salary advance, rupees 25,000, paid to Mr. E in cash. Okay. So in this case, I'm having a guy called Mr. E. So I know that Mr. E in this case, cash account, right? Just a second. Sorry, guys. I'll continue. So I know I'm paying cash to somebody. So there is a cash account involved and Mr. E. Right? So I'm paying cash, my cash reduces, and Mr. E is my employee. Okay. So is my employee an asset or is he a liability or what? So let's try to understand. An employee is somebody who I pay money to because he's giving me services. So common sense dictates should be a liability, right? Oh my God. However, in this case, if you notice, we are giving him an advance, right? A liability is typically something that has a credit balance, but here we are debiting him. So here, similar to above, this is a liability with a debit balance. This is an employee. Okay. With regard to these ideas, don't get tensed that if you're feeling a little bit lost, the what you might call the point of view that you will get, the understanding that you will receive will be when you understand the balance sheet and the profit and loss accounts. Okay, so that's when you'll be able to get a super clear picture. So as of now, just listen to the idea and just hold on to it. That's it. Okay. So as far as basic logic goes, let's go ahead. I'm paying cash. Cash reduces, and that's 25,000, right? And similarly, the asset increases, or in this case, liability with a debit balance increases. If you want another way of understanding this, typically we have to pay Mr. E, right? But in this case, we are giving him a salary advance, right? We are giving him money ahead of his services, which means he should either give us the money back or he should provide services equivalent to that money. To that extent, he is an asset of ours. So to give you an understanding, okay, he'll for that particular portion of the debit balance, he is an asset. So if it helps any of you understand it better, and listen to it. If it doesn't, just forget it. We'll anyway circle back to this. Okay, don't worry. Deposited 2 lakhs in FD with Bank of India, gave check from Citibank. Mr. E account. Why can't we specifically write salary advances account? Great question. Similar to what you asked before. Let's say there are 5 employees you're asking me for salary advance. If I debit all of the balances in salary advance account, I wouldn't be able to say which employees I gave, what employee I gave what amount. I wouldn't be able to say that. Instead, if I keep the individual employee names as assets, right, then it might be easier. Okay, if it helps, you can say Mr. E employee, right? If it helps. But at the end of the day, you'll be able to identify Mr. E as an employee anyway. So you know that he having a debit balance implies that you have given him a salary advance. And the narration will anyway help you understand why you gave him, who authorized it, or whatnot, if you have such questions. Okay. Vandana, could you unmute your mic and ask? Might be a bit faster and easier for you to ask as well. Okay. There's going to be a lot of employees. Okay. Actually, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Because there are going to be a lot of employees. Let's say I'm paying 200 employees in advance, right? If I'm going to use one account called advance account and debit 200 values in it, then if suddenly tomorrow one employee asks me, what is the advance you have given me? Or if I want to explain to management what exactly is the amount I've paid to Mr. B or Mr. C, if I look at advance account, I won't be able to give you that answer because there will be 200 employees worth of balances in their account. Instead, if I'm creating A account, B account, C account, it will be easier for me to just look at that individual's account and say exactly what is the advance I've given him, whether he's repaid me anything or whether I've given a salary. Like I'll be able to identify the exact transactions with the individual in question. If I say salary, then it's going to be salary advance, then it will be very hard to navigate through multiple entries in that account and figure out which entries are corresponding to which employee. It becomes much messier. Awesome. Not necessarily, right? See, typically in general business, you don't give salary advance, right? When do you require a salary? When does an employee require? He might have, extraordinary situation where he might need one. So he will request his department head. His department head will sign a form. It will go to HR. HR will look at the case. They might or may not approve the form. If they approve the form, he receives the money. And maybe he needs 1 lakh. Maybe he needs 2 lakhs. Maybe he needs a smaller amount. So it's a case to case issue. It's not like a standard idea. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So number 12, deposited. We already saw this, right? So I know that I'm giving a check from Citibank. So when I'm giving a check, I don't think about check in hand or anything of the sort. Giving a check, Citibank, and the deposit is Bank of India deposit, right? Fixed deposit. So I know that fixed deposit is an asset, right? So asset increases. Citibank, I'm giving money away from my Citibank account. My balance reduces. The amount is 2 lakh, right? Okay. 13. Received interest income rupees 20,000 from Bank of India fixed deposit. Deposited that amount into SBI. Okay. So what am I saying? I'm receiving interest income. So there are actually, because this statement is not too clear, you can actually think of it at two or three different ways. Now let's look at the end result. If I'm forgetting everything and I want to look at the scenario at the end of these transactions, I know that my SBI bank balance is going to increase because I'm depositing that money into SBI. and I know that I'm receiving interest, right? So when I receive interest, it's income for me, and when income increases, I credit it. That's the basic rule. Right. So the amount is 20,000, right? So this is an acceptable transaction because it gives you the end effect. Alternatively, if you go step by step, so let's say that when you open the transaction, right? When you open the fixed deposit, you mentioned that the account where interest should be credited is Citibank. So what I'm trying to say is when you open the fixed deposit, they'll give you a form, right? They'll ask you how long do you want it to be, what interest rate. They'll ask you a bunch of questions, and they'll ask you, how should I give you the interest? Can you give me the account number or the bank account number where I should credit the interest? So you told them, okay, this is my Citibank account number. So whenever you have to pay me interest in this account. So you gave them an instruction, okay? So first, you can say it's 13A, right? So they're giving you money. So the first step will be interest on fixed deposit. You're getting income, right? So that's 20,000 increase in income. So they're paying you in your Citibank account. That's debited, which means the bank is giving interest. Bank credits interest. Okay. And then you go ahead and deposit it in the SBI bank account, right? You say transfer it via NEFT or give a check or however you want to transact. Right? So at the end of the day, what happens? You are debiting Citibank account and you're crediting Citibank account. The net effect is zero for Citibank. You're crediting interest on fixed deposit. You're debiting SBI, and the effect is arrived at here. So if this transaction was specific, and if it said the bank credited the amount into SBI, then maybe this one transaction, the one journal entry might be fine. But this is also not wrong. So if you had given an answer, maybe debited with cash or debited with SBI, you could go through this scenario, but the end result should be this transaction or this journal entry. As long as you have gotten that right, you're good. Okay. Means transaction. Interest rupees 40,000 for loan taken payable. Okay. If you guys remember, this is the word payable means that we are accruing interest to pay to somebody. So I know that I've taken a loan, Ram's loan, if you remember properly, over somewhere over here, right? Obtained a loan, number three. So if I have a loan payable, oh sorry, interest payable on the loan, I know that interest is an expense for me. Expense. And when I have an amount payable, I know that it's a liability for me. Interest payable. Right? So interest increases, my liability increases, corresponding debit and credit, and the amount is 40,000. Right? So the 15th transaction is Maruti Limited paid rupees 75,000 in check and rupees 25,000 in cash. So previously we had sold some tires to Maruti Limited. I found, here it is, transaction number 8, right? I think we had sold 1,25,000 worth of tires. So they are paying us back now. So the transaction involves three accounts, a cash account. So let's see, we know that we receive a check, but have we said anything about depositing it later? If you notice, no. There's nothing, no transaction that says deposited check received from Maruti Limited. So we can presume that we are going to deposit the check as soon as we receive it. Okay. So that's how we tie common sense with, figuring out whether we debit the bank account or we debit check in hand account. Just use common sense. If the subsequent transaction mentions that you're depositing the check, it will imply that in the current transaction, I have not deposited it. But in this case, since no subsequent transaction mentions anything such as no such so, we can safely presume that we are depositing the check as soon as we receive it. Okay. So here it's Citibank account, right? And the thing, another interesting thing, we are not mentioned which bank we are depositing the check in. So whichever bank you choose, Citibank or SBI, it's fine. I'm just choosing Citibank here. Okay. So if you have chosen SBI here, it's not a mistake because the transaction is not giving you any information, is it? Fuck. So, and the third account is Maruti Limited. Right. So I'm receiving cash 25,000. Right. Check for 75,000. And the total amount that I'm receiving from is 1 lakh. Okay. So cash and the bank balance increases. His debt reduces. So typically I sold him. So he became my debtor worth 1,25,000. Now he's paid me 1 lakh back, which means he only has to pay me 25,000 after this. So his balance reduces by 1 lakh. Right? When asset reduces, you credit it. The rules follow and you go ahead and complete it. Okay, next 5 over. Any doubts as of now? Okay, specific no. Let's go forward. 16. Sold 60 tires at 250 to Nissan against advance. So this piece, let's as of now, let's account the transaction as if these two words are not given. Sold 60 tires to at rupees 2,500 to Nissan. Okay. So what do I do with and as of now? I've told you that I'm ignoring these two words. Okay. I've already received in transaction 9. Yeah, 2,500 per tire. You're right. Transaction number 9. I've received an advance from them. So there's already a Nissan Limited account created. So I'm going to use the same account because it's the same person. Nissan Limited account, right? And I'm making a sale, so sales account. So sales increases income credit. Nissan is somebody who's purchasing from me. Debtor as it increases debit. So how much is the value? I'm selling 60 tires, 2,500. So 1 lakh 50. Okay. So if you want to understand the business, the common sense of it all, so what had happened in transaction 8, basically think of it this way. So Nissan would have approached us, sorry, transaction 9. Nissan would have approached us. So they would have asked, guys, I need 16 tires from you. And we would have said, we'd love to help you, but we're kind of having a cash crunch right now. We need some money to procure the tires from somebody else. And Nissan said, okay, what is the value of the tires I need from you? I need from 4 lakh 50. I'll give you 100% advance, which means I'll give you the entire 1 lakh 50 now itself. You buy the tires for me and you sell it to me once you have them. So what do? We get the cash from them. So cash increases. So we find a vendor and we purchase tires for them, and that the business happens. And now, once we receive the tires, we are selling it to Nissan Limited. So the transaction is here. That's how the common sense of the business happens. And now we are bringing it into accounting terms, journal entries. Okay. So we've sold it to Nissan. That's done. Transaction 17 received 100 tires from Modi Limited at 1,250. Okay. So we know that Modi Limited is our vendor because we're receiving tires from him. So Modi Limited. Right? Uh, because these are tires and they are used in my business, its purchases account increases, decreases. And the value is 1,250 into 100 tires. Right? 1,25,000 worth of tires. So if you want to understand how this business happened, when did I previously transact with Mr. Modi? Paid advance of rupees 1,75,000. So what had happened here? I needed tires from Modi Limited, so I gave an advance of rupees 1,75,000. But we don't know how much I ordered. I might have ordered for 5 lakh rupees. Okay, that we don't need that information either. The fact is, I paid him 1,75,000 as an advance, right? So now they're giving me maybe the first installment, right? They're giving me out of 5 lakhs that I ordered, they have got 1,25,000 worth of tires ready. They're giving it to me. So I'm making that purchase and they're, like delivering those 60 or 100 tires now. So when the business goes that way, the transaction happens and the journal entry occurs for the fact. Fact is, I paid him in advance. Fact is, I've received 100 tires. Anything other than that, I had ordered so much more. I have paid him more. All those facts are just those are just ideas. They will have to be, and as long as we are considering facts, we will be accounting them based on journal entries. Okay, using journal entries. 18 transaction, paid electricity bill 45,000, Citibank check. I think this should be a piece of cake. Hope it was for you too as well. So you can also call it electricity charges. So Citibank, right? Expense increases, asset decreases, so 45,000, right? 19. sold 400 tires to Mr. Lal for rupees 2,600 per tire. Okay, so Mr. Lal, debtor, asset, right? And sale, right? It increases, income increases. The value is 2,600, right? And 400. Guys, if you notice, I'm not selling for the same value, right? In case I sold for 2,500 to Maruti Limited, but maybe I got a better deal with Mr. Lal, so I sold it for 2,600. So the business doesn't always have to be at the same value. If I'm able to negotiate a better deal with the customer, right, which benefits me, I may sell it for a higher value as well. So these aren't trick questions. Don't think of them that way. It's just basic common sense. I'm able to get a higher price for my product. I will sell it for a higher product, high value. Okay. So I made a sale of 10 lakh 40,000. 20th transaction. Received payment from Mr. Lal, rupees 10.3 lakhs. Gave a rebate of rupees 10,000. Okay. So now we understand something called a discount. So I hope that you guys know what a discount is. Else I will just explain to you, okay, in a short idea. So there are two types of discounts, okay. There's something called a trade discount and a cash discount. Okay, let's say I make a sale, rupees 10 lakhs. Okay. So in this scenario, it's a huge, let's presume that typically I sell for 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, small amounts. Okay, chota amounts. But now this guy giving me an order for 10 lakhs, right? So because he's giving me such a huge order, I want to, like show him a token of my appreciation. So I'm saying, bro, I'm selling you for 10 lakh rupees worth of products, tires, but I'm giving you a discount of 1%, right? 10,000, which means he needs to pay me only rupees 9 lakh 90,000. Okay. So this is called a volume discount. So the volume discount is basically telling me why I'm giving the discount. Okay, I'm doing a discount. I'm giving you a discount because you're giving me a lot of business. So when I make sale of 1 lakh, 2 lakh, you're giving me 10 times worth of sale. So to show you my as a gesture of goodwill, I'm giving you a volume discount because you purchased for such a huge volume, right? This is called a trade discount. So this will be mentioned in the bill itself, right? The bill will say sale amount 10 lakhs, less discount, right? 10K. For those of you who don't know what K is 1,000, okay, 10,000. Net amount is 9 lakh 90,000. So the bill will mention these details, okay? So that's a trade discount. A cash discount is, no, let's say that 10 lakhs is a normal sale for me, right? But credit period is 30 days, which means I'm giving him 30 days after the day of sale to pay me the 10 lakhs. Customer pays in 10 days. So what does this mean? I had given him 30 days to pay me amount, right? But he pays me in 10 days itself, which means I have the 10 lakhs 20 days ahead of when I'm supposed to receive it. So for 20 days, I can hypothetically, like deposited it in a short-term fixed deposit and earn interest 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees on it. That gives me some benefit, right? If you had given it to me 20 days later, I might not have been able to earn the 20 days interest. So the fact that he's given me an earlier repayment is a good thing. So I'm thanking him for it, which means I'm giving him a cash discount, rupees 10,000, right? Which means I'm telling him he's paying me 10 lakh, but I'm saying because you're paying me in 10 days, you can pay me 9 lakh. So in this case, the bill, right? The bill will still mention the sale amount as 10 lakh. Okay. No changes because I'm not giving a discount when I'm making the sale. At time of payment, right? So I receive 9 lakh 90. But here, amount to receive. So this is how I look at it. Receive is 10 lakh. Cash discount given is 10K, right? Net amount received is 9 lakh 90. So if you look at it at the end as an end result, it's the same. I make a sale for 10 lakhs, but I'm giving you a discount and I receive 9 lakh 19 at the end of it. But if you look at it when it happens, right? A trade discount happens at the bill level and the cash discount happens at payment level. Okay. So you will understand the importance of this when you finally come to a transaction where you have to account for these. So let's look at this transaction. What kind of discount do you think this is? Received a payment from Mr. Lal for 10.3 lakhs, gave a rebate of 10,000. So I'm giving him a discount when he is making a payment. Okay. So we learned that this is a cash discount. A rebate is another word for discount. Okay. So in case you come across the word rebate, it's like a discount. It's pretty much a discount. So what are the facts? I know that Mr. Lal is involved. I know that he's giving me a Citibank check, which makes me deposit it in Citibank because it's common sense. I receive it money early. And I'm giving him a discount. 3 ideas. So I know that Mr. Lal is involved. Lal, account. I know the Citibank is involved. I don't know whether the third account is involved. As of now, let's see how we figure it. I know that I'm receiving a check for 10.3 lakhs. So my bank balance will increase by 10.3 lakhs. Here, I'm giving him a discount of 10,000, which means I'm telling Mr. Lal, okay, Mr. Lal, you have to pay me 10.4 lakhs, right? Because I made you a sale of 10.4 lakhs, but it's okay if you pay me 10.3 lakhs. So if I say credit with 10 lakh 30,000, what will that mean? He initially had a debit balance of 10.4 lakhs. This credit means that he will have to pay me a net amount of 10,000. Right, that's what the transaction will imply. That's what the journal entry will imply. The journal entry will leave him with a balance debit of 10,000. Right, I debited 10,000, 10 lakh 40. I credited 10 lakh 30. So balance debit is 10,000. But the transaction would not make sense because I'm telling him you don't need to pay anything anymore. 10 lakh 30 is enough, which means his entire debit or his entire debt is being reduced. So expect nothing from him after this. Okay. So now the transaction does not tally. The journal entry does not tally. I need a 10,000 more debit. Right. I call this as discount given. So now we are learning something new. Discount given. Right. I get lesser money. I make a loss. So this is the basic thought process. I'm giving a discount, so I get lesser money. I make a loss to that extent. Right. So what happens? All expenses and losses, when they increase you debit, when they decrease you credit. This is a loss, right? I can't call it an expense. This is a loss. And I'm incurring it so that it's, my customer will come back again because I gave him a discount before. So when my loss increased, I debited the amount. Okay. That's the thought process here. If you're able to figure this out on your own, very well, great, awesome, smart. If not, there's a new thing you learned today. Okay. Transaction 21. So I will finish all transactions, then I'll ask questions. Okay. I don't want to waste my time on the last one. So received 40 tires worth rupees 55,000 from Modi Limited. Received discount of 5,000. Here you might find something interesting. In every example before, it makes common sense for you to presume that I did not purchase 100 tires for 1,250 rupees, right? It doesn't. Then what will that mean? It will mean that one tire is 12.5 rupees. No way, because I'm selling 50 tires for 2,500 rupees each, right? So the transactions above give me an idea that the value of a tire is 2,500, 2,600 in this case over here, right? So the common sense is a tire is worth at least 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. So just because I don't have the word each here does not mean that I'm purchasing 100 tires for 1,250. So the each is implied. Okay, that's where you use your common sense. You shouldn't go by the rule saying there is no each here, which means I'm purchasing 100 tires for 1,250. Similarly, I'm receiving 40 tires worth rupees 55,000, which means each tire is worth 55,000 by 40. Okay, so don't get carried away by the each and multiply 55,000 by 40. read and apply your common sense. So typically, when you're going through your transactions, you'll just immediately think, okay, 40, 55,000, multiply it and account it. Don't do that mistake. Okay. So I'm receiving tires. So it's a purchase, right? And I'm receiving tires worth 55,000 rupees. So my debit is worth 55,000. Okay. So Modi Limited. Modi Limited is my vendor. So Modi Limited is my vendor, increases credit. What amount should I credit? If you notice, I'll keep it this way so that you get a better idea. Okay. Right. So Modi Limited is giving me 5,000 rupees of an advance. Okay. I'm sorry, he's giving 5,000 rupees discount. So I'm getting this discount when I am purchasing tires. Okay. I'm not getting this discount when I'm making a payment. So this is a trade discount. Okay. So here, this is something called discount received. I'm receiving a discount, right? So Modi Limited will be credited with 50,000 because Modi Limited will only have to pay. I'll only have to pay 50,000 because I'm purchasing with 55,000. He's giving me a discount of 5,000, which means I only have to pay him 50,000. So I'll only owe this, Modi Limited, Mr. Modi, 50,000 rupees. The balance 5,000 is a gain, right? All incomes and gains, if they increase, you credit them. I'm receiving a discount, which is a gain, right? So if you want to go through the same logic we went ahead in the last time, discount received, I pay lesser money, I make a gain to that extent, right? Common sense. So these are two new things you learned today, right? Or other things you relearned, but these are new. Okay. So that's the idea behind that. And the last transaction is drawings. So for those of you who don't know what drawings are, when let's say that you are the owner of the business and you're doing business and say you need some money to spend, not for the business, the owner needs some money. So the owner will take some money from the business. That's the idea behind the concept of drawings. Now look at it from the business's point of view. The business has money. The business is giving money to the owner, right? So obviously, let's say that I'm paying via check. Let's presume again because it's not given which bank account. I'm presuming that it's a Citibank account. So I'm giving a check, right? So 2 lakhs, my bank balance will reduce. Okay, that's first step I know. I'm going to debit this. So if those of you guys who thought that because I'm paying X limited, I'm sorry, I'm paying X back, his capital will reduce. If you thought like this, right? Because when he gave us money, we credited capital account. So when the business is giving him money, we'll debit it. If this was your thought process, this is not wrong. Okay, don't think this is wrong. This is correct. Except, you know how, for example, Vandana asked, why don't we have a salary advance account? Won't it make sense to keep an account called salary advance and put all the advances in it? For the business to be able to figure out how much money did the owner give me and how much money did the owner take back, right? Because the owner is taking back money temporarily, maybe for like small expenses and things like that. So you can actually split this concept into two, right? There's something called capital, right, where that's like huge amount, and for the business to run. So that's like something that's going to be there from the start of the business till the end of the business, right? And there's something called drawings, maybe temporary amounts taken for the owner's use. Okay. The idea is if the business is worth, say, in this case, how much did we purchase? The business is worth 10 lakhs, right? He'll maybe take, in this case, he's taking a value of 2 lakhs. Okay. But typically, he'll take small values, 10,000, 20,000. It won't affect the business, but it's for the owner. So instead, we'll use an account called drawings account. So the drawings account is technically, you can call it an asset account, right? So because the business is giving the owner money, okay, which means to the extent I'm giving the owner money, the owner has to give me the money back, right? So I have the right to receive the money back from the owner. So that is an asset, okay? And this part, the leg of the journal entry remains the same, 2 lakh, okay? So this is the right way to do it. This is not wrong. I'll explain how this transaction eventually actually affects the capital account. I'll show you how that happens. Okay, don't worry about it. The end result at the end of the year, this is the transaction that will occur. But we need to go through a flow to show how it happens. Okay, so this gives a better presentability or better understandability of the financial statement, which is one of the main features of accounting. You need to be able to understand the transaction better, and creating an account called drawings account helps. Okay, so that is the last of it. Any doubts in the last 7 transactions? Again, Shreya, you can unmute and ask. It's fine. It's easier, no?
Can you show the slide, please?
Sure.
Instead of writing it as a drawing, why can't we write it to be in a cash account?
Which can you ask me which one? Oh, the debit, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm looking at it from the business point of view, correct? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm the business right now. So what did we learn? One of the first concepts of accounting is business entity concept, which means the owner is a different guy and I'm a different guy. So when I say I am the business, so when the owner is taking money from the business loses money and the owner has money in his hands. Okay. So when I say excess capital account, it's a third party. Okay. So if I were to debit with cash, so that what would the journal entry be? Cash account debit 2 lakhs, Citibank account credit 2 lakhs. That journal entry would imply that I'm withdrawing 2 lakhs from a bank account and having it as cash. If the cash account increases, it means the business still has the 2 lakhs with it. But what is the transaction? The transaction is I'm paying it to my owner, right? So the business's cash balance won't increase. The owner's cash balance will increase. And because the owner is a third party, our cash account should not be considered in this transaction, right? This
Yes.
transaction will imply the owner has to pay us back the 2 lakhs. Okay?
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other doubts, guys? Okay. So I'm presuming you got it all right. So anyway, I'll be saving this and uploading this today. If you want to go through it again, you can gladly do so. Um, okay. Just give me a minute. Okay. So level 2, I'd like to just get an idea about how many of you tried it and couldn't do it. So how many of you tried? As in, if you have tried, just say yes. If you didn't even attempt it, say no. It's fine, because why I'm asking is, if the majority of you tried it, I'd be interested in going through that now. If you haven't, you can maybe try it today, and next class we will discuss it. And today I will use the balance time to explain and go ahead with my ledgers, and that's new, so everybody can learn. And don't worry if you say no. I'm not going to scold or anything. Okay, I'm just asking because I want to understand what to do now. Okay, seems like most of you haven't tried. No problem. Great. Guys, like go through the transactions that we've gone through today and try out the. It's okay if you're wrong, obviously, because you're trying it out. Try to understand it as a business and go through the transactions and journalize them. And we discuss those in the next class. Okay, no problem. Now we'll go ahead and use the balance time we have with our posting to ledger accounts. Okay, right. So where were we in the last class? Missed the question. Did you try the level 2 assignment? That's the question. Did you try to go through the transactions and create journal entries? Or did you look at it and figure out, okay, level 1 டே பயங்கரமா இருக்கு நான் அதை முடிச்சுட்டு அடுத்து அப்புறம் பார்த்துக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஃப்ரீயா விட்டீங்களா? Okay, so that's two of you have tried. Never mind. Super. In the next class, we'll discuss it. Okay, don't worry. Because I want to give others a chance to at least try it so that it will be more interesting to actually figure out. Because the second one is actually really cool, if you notice. A lot of in my interest on capital and principal amount, different ideas, dividends, wow, depreciation, like stuff, commission, right? Brokerage. We'll see how we can transact in the next class. So just think about it and we'll have a fun time next class. Okay. So we'll come back to ledgers. So quick recap. Ledger என்ன பண்றோம்? We are basically going to execute these transactions. So every transaction, every journal I have, I'm going to post it to individual ledger accounts. Correct? So how much have we gone up until? So third transaction. So we have accounted 3 journal entries. So fourth journal entry. Renting a building. Right? So I know I've created SBI bank account. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Right. Where was I? Okay. So rental deposit account. The transaction says debit rental deposit, right? This transaction number 4. Okay, what happened? Just a second. Guys, just give me a minute, okay? I'll join back. I think my system crashed.